Greetings, Seekers, and welcome once again to the Library of Divine Echoes. I'm your host, Christopher Little, and today we will explore the path of the solitary witch. In the grand tapestry of human spiritual evolution, the path of the solitary witch stands as a testament to the enduring power of individual agency and the direct, unmediated communion with the cosmos. It is a path that predates the formal structures of modern coven-based Wicca, reaching back to the primal figures of the village wise woman, the cunning man of the hedge, and the shaman who conversed with the spirits of the land in the isolation of the wild. Today, this tradition has undergone a renaissance, evolving into a sophisticated system of self-transformation that synthesizes ancient folk wisdom with the rigors of modern metaphysical insight, depth psychology, and hermetic philosophy. This episode serves as a comprehensive analytical guide for the modern seeker, an exhaustive exploration designed not merely to instruct on the mechanics of ritual, but to illuminate the esoteric engines that drive genuine spiritual growth, harmony, and empowerment. The rise of the solitary practitioner represents a profound shift in the religious landscape of the 21st century, where traditional hierarchical structures offered the safety of lineage and the validation of peers. The solitary path offers the terrifying and exhilarating freedom of total responsibility. It is a path of perpetual self-initiation, where the practitioner must embody the roles of high priest, neophyte, and congregation simultaneously. This autonomy allows for a fluidity of practice that is impossible in a group setting. The solitary witch can tailor their spiritual architecture to align perfectly with their unique psychological makeup, cultural background, and energetic needs. However, this freedom comes with the intermediate plateau, a challenging phase where the initial glamour of discovery fades and the practitioner must rely on internal discipline to continue their ascent. This episode is structured to guide the practitioner through these challenges. We will dissect the theological underpinnings of the solitary worldview, exploring the nature of deity not just as external idols, but as psychological archetypes and cosmic forces. We will delve into the Kabbalion and the 7 Hermetic principles, demonstrating how these ancient laws provide the physics behind effective spellcraft. We will examine the architecture of sacred space, the nuances of divination as a dialogue with the subconscious, and the critical importance of shadow work in integrating the fractured self. Finally, we will offer a practical framework for living the craft, from the ethics of power to the celebration of seasonal cycles, culminating in a guided meditation to anchor these teachings in the soul. Whether you are a novice lighting your first candle or a master seeking to deepen your gnosis, the knowledge shared herein applies to all. It transcends religious dogma to touch upon the universal principles of energy, mind, and spirit that govern our reality. At the heart of solitary witchcraft lies the cultivation of a personal, intimate relationship with the divine. Unlike orthodox religions that prescribe a rigid, often distant definition of God, the solitary path encourages the theological fluidity that evolves alongside the practitioner. The most prevalent framework within Wicca and modern witchcraft is duotheism, the veneration of the divine through the twin polarities of the god and the goddess. These are not merely gendered idols, but cosmic principles representing the projective and receptive forces of the universe, the seed and the soil, the sun and the moon. However, the solitary practitioner is urged to interrogate the nature of these beings. Are they distinct external entities with their own agency, as a polytheist might believe? Are they facets of a singular, unknowable divine source, as a pantheist might argue? Or are they, as suggested by the depth psychology of Carl Jung, projections of the collective unconscious, archetypes of the masculine and feminine energies that reside within the human psyche? The answer to these questions fundamentally shapes the solitary's engagement with the craft. If deities are viewed as archetypes, then ritual becomes a sophisticated form of psychodrama. Invoking the goddess is an act of accessing the anima, the feminine principle within the self. Invoking the god connects one to the animus. This psychological model empowers the practitioner to take ownership of their spiritual experiences, viewing gods as vast reservoirs of specific human potentials, the warrior, Mars, Thor, as the potential for courage and boundary setting, or the mother, Demeter, Isis, as the potential for nurturing and creation. Conversely, viewing deities as external intelligence allows for a relationship of communion and negotiation. The solitary witch may choose specific names that resonate with their heritage or intuition: Herne for the god of the wild hunt, Epona for the goddess of horses and sovereignty, or simply the lord and lady. This relationship is reciprocal. The practitioner offers energy and devotion, and in turn receives guidance, protection, and blessings. The solitary path allows for a unique syncretism here, where a practitioner might honor the Celtic Brigid alongside the Hindu Lakshmi, finding the common thread of hearth and prosperity that unites them. As the solitary practitioner advances, they move beyond simple prayer to the esoteric practices of aspecting and drawing down. This is the process of voluntarily shifting consciousness to allow a deity or archetype to manifest through the physical vehicle of the practitioner. In a coven, the high priestess might draw down the moon to become the vessel of the goddess for the group. For the solitary, this is a private, often intense experience of union with the divine. Aspecting serves to temporarily upgrade the practitioner's vibration. By embodying the archetype of the sage, for instance, the witch gains access to wisdom that is normally inaccessible to their conscious mind. This practice requires robust mental health and strong ego boundaries. One must be able to surrender control to the archetype and, crucially, regain it afterward. It is a controlled form of possession that facilitates profound spiritual growth and the integration of divine qualities into the human personality. The solitary witch lives in a cyclical rather than linear time. The observance of the wheel of the year, the cycle of 8 Sabbats, is not merely an agricultural reenactment, but a profound psychological map for the individuation process. Each festival represents a stage in the life cycle of the god and goddess, mirroring the developmental stages of the human soul. The cycle begins in darkness with Samhain, October 31st, the witch's new year. It is the festival of death and release, where the god sacrifices himself to the land and the goddess enters her crone aspect. Psychologically, this is the time for shadow work, for acknowledging morality, and for releasing habits and identities that no longer serve. It connects the solitary to the ancestors, both biological and spiritual, acknowledging that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before. Following the stillness of winter comes Yule, winter solstice, the rebirth of the sun. It represents the spark of hope in the deepest darkness, the return of consciousness after the descent into the unconscious. Imbolc, February 2nd, marks the quickening, the first stirrings of inspiration, and the nurturing of potential. Ostara, spring equinox, brings balance between light and dark, a time for planting seeds of intention. The energy rises to its peak at Beltane, May 1st, the festival of union and passion. It symbolizes the sacred marriage of the god and goddess, the integration of opposites within the self, and the manifestation of creative desire. Letha, summer solstice, is the zenith of power, a celebration of fullness and achievement. But inherent in this peak is the beginning of the decline. The sun begins to wane, teaching the solitary the lesson of impermanence. The harvest festivals, Lusana, August 1st, Mabon, autumn equinox, and the return to Samhain, teach the necessity of sacrifice and gratitude. We reap what we have sown, we balance our accounts, and we prepare to let go once more. By internalizing this cycle, the solitary practitioner cultivates deep resilience. They learn that periods of spiritual winter, depression, stagnation, lack of inspiration, are not failures, but necessary precursors to rebirth. This cyclical worldview offers a powerful antidote to the burnout of modern, linear living. Interwoven with this theology is the concept of animism, the belief that all things possess a spirit or soul. For the solitary witch, the world is not a collection of dead objects, but a community of living subjects. Stones, trees, rivers, and even urban landscapes possess a genius loci, or spirit of place. The worldview necessitates a unique environmental ethic. The solitary recognizes their intelligence gives them a unique responsibility toward the environment. Magic is not just about getting what one wants, it is about maintaining ecological balance. Rituals are often performed outdoors to honor the land directly. A solitary witch might pick up trash as a devotional act to the earth goddess, or plant a garden to provide habitat for local pollinators. This green spirituality grounds the esoteric practices in tangible, compassionate action for the planet. To move beyond the intermediate plateau and achieve true mastery, the solitary witch must understand the underlying mechanics of magic. Hermetic philosophy, rooted in the teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, provides the theoretical physics of the magical universe. Integrating these 7 principles transforms ritual from empty theater into a potent act of causation. 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. This is the master key. It posits that the underlying reality of the universe is consciousness. Matter is merely densified mind. For the solitary witch, this principle validates the efficacy of visualization and intent. If the universe is mental, then thoughts are not abstract nothings. They are subtle forms of matter that shape reality. Insight. This principle explains why skepticism or self-doubt can neutralize a spell. Doubt is a counter-intention, a conflicting instruction sent to the universal mind. Mastery of mentalism requires rigorous mental discipline, meditation, focus exercises, and the growth mindset to ensure that the signal sent out is clear and unwavering. 2. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This principle delineates the holographic nature of the universe. The macrocosm, the universe or divine, is reflected in the microcosm, the individual and earth. This is the basis for the entire system of magical correspondences used in witchcraft. Application. When a witch uses a green candle for money, they are not engaging in superstition. They are leveraging the principle of correspondence. Green, below, corresponds to the vibration of growth and Venusian energy, above. By manipulating the symbol on the physical plane, the witch influences the reality on the energetic plane. This principle also implies that by changing one's internal state, microcosm, one inevitably effects change in their external reality, macrocosm. 3. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Hermeticism teaches that the difference between matter, energy, mind, and spirit is merely a difference in the rate of vibration. Spirit is at an infinitely high vibration. Matter is at a gross, low vibration. Application. Magic is the art of changing vibrations. A curse or negative atmosphere is essentially a low, dense vibration. To banish it, the witch does not fight it. They introduce a higher vibration through laughter, singing bowls, or high-frequency incense like frankincense to entrain the energy to a new state. Solitary practitioners use chanting and drumming to raise their own vibrational rate, making their energy field more potent and magnetic. 4. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Heat and cold are the same thing, temperature. Love and hate are the same thing, emotional intensity. Application. This allows for the art of polarization. A solitary witch feeling fear can transmute that energy into courage because they are on the same spectrum. It is impossible to turn fear into green, but it is possible to slide the scale of emotion from fear to power. This principle teaches that the shadow self is not an enemy to be destroyed, but the other pole of the light, necessary for wholeness. 5. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. Moods, fortunes, and empires rise and fall. Application. The master witch learns to neutralize the backward swing of the pendulum. When a high spiritual state, a Sabbath high, is followed by a low, the solitary does not despair. They recognize it as the law of rhythm. By polarizing themselves at the positive pole, maintaining a state of gratitude or detachment, they refuse to be dragged down by the inevitable ebb of energy. This is crucial for the solitary who has no coven to support them during spiritual dry spells. 6. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. There is no such thing as chance. Chance is merely a name for a law not recognized. Application. This is the foundation of magical responsibility. The solitary witch moves from being a pawn, an effect of environment and heredity, to a player, a causer. By crafting rituals, causes, they generate specific changes, effects. It is also the mechanism behind the law of three. Energy sent out returns not as punishment, but as a consequence of this immutable law. 7. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This refers to the energetic interplay of projective, masculine will, and receptive, feminine imagination, forces present in all things regardless of biological sex. Application. Creative manifestation requires the union of these energies. A spell, the mental seed or will, must be planted in the subconscious, the emotional womb or imagination, to manifest. The solitary must practice these energies within themselves to be effective. All will and no emotion leads to dry, ineffective magic. All emotion and no will leads to chaos. The Hermetic Principles in summary. Hermetic Principle, mentalism. Core concept, the universe is mental. Magical application for solitaires, visualization is the primary tool of creation. Hermetic Principle, correspondence. Core concept, as above, so below. Magical application for solitaires, use of herbs, stones, and planets to influence reality. Hermetic Principle, vibration. Core concept, everything vibrates. Magical application for solitaires, chanting or drumming to alter environmental energy. Hermetic Principle, polarity. Core concept, opposites are degrees. Magical application for solitaires, transmuting fear into power, shadow work. Hermetic Principle, rhythm. Core concept, everything has tides. Magical application for solitaires, timing spells, enduring spiritual lows with patience. Hermetic Principle, cause and effect. Core concept, nothing is chance. Magical application for solitaires, taking responsibility for all actions, karma. Hermetic Principle, gender. Core concept, masculine, feminine energies. Magical application for solitaires, balancing will and intuition for manifestation. For the solitary witch, the creation of sacred space is an act of supreme sovereignty. Without a physical temple, the witch must construct a sanctuary between the worlds through will and visualization. Advanced circle casting. While beginners view the circle as a line on the floor, the advanced solitary understands it as a multi-dimensional sphere. The visualization. Ground yourself. Project energy from your dominant hand, or wand, not just as a ring, but as a wall of blue or white fire. Visualize this wall curving over your head and under your feet to form a complete bubble. This sphere contains the energy raised, keeping it from dissipating, and excludes distracting or negative energies. Cutting a door. If you must leave the circle during a ritual, you do not just walk through, you cut a door with your atame or hand, visualizing an opening in the energy field, step through, and then seal it behind you to maintain the integrity of the sphere. The watchtowers. Instead of merely calling the quarters as directions, view them as elemental gateways. In the east, air, visualize a portal opening to a realm of vast skies and intellect. In the south, fire, a gateway to deserts and passion. These are not just symbols, but active portals for elemental energy to flow into your sphere. The solitary altar. The altar is the witch's workbench and control panel. It need not be elaborate. A stump, a coffee table, or a shelf will suffice. Placement. Many place the altar in the north, earth stability, or east, air beginnings. A round altar works well for solitaires standing in the center of a circle. Setup. It typically holds representations of the god, gold candle, antler, atame, and goddess, silver candle, shell, chalice. It holds the tools of the craft, the pentacle, earth, wand, air and fire, cup, water, and incense, air. The deity statues. As discussed in Part 1, these can be specific gods or abstract symbols. The solitary might use a simple rock for the god and a flower for the goddess until specific deity relationships are formed. Tools of the trade, creation and consecration. The most potent tools are those the witch makes or finds themselves. The wand, ideally cut from a tree, willow, hazel, or oak are traditional, with permission asked of the dryad or spirit. It is an instrument of invocation and direction of will. The atame, a double-edged ritual knife, never used for cutting physical objects. It directs energy and commands boundaries. The solitary might carve the handle with their runes or their magical name. The bowline, a white-handled knife used for practical cutting, herbs, cords. This distinguishes the practical from the symbolic. Consecration. Before use, tools must be cleansed of prior energies. Technique. Mix salt into water, earth and water. Sprinkle the tool, saying, "I cleanse thee with earth and water." Pass the tool through incense smoke over a candle flame, air and fire, saying, "I consecrate thee with air and fire." Finally present it to the gods or universe to be charged with intent. The inner temple, astral temple. A vital technique for the solitary living in shared or cramped spaces is the inner temple. This is a sanctuary built entirely within the imagination. Construction. Through meditation, visualize a path leading to a structure. It could be a library, a forest grove, or a crystal cave. Build it brick by brick in your mind's eye. Smell the air. Feel the floor. Usage. This space is accessible instantly, anywhere. It is a place to perform rituals that are physically impossible, for example, massive bonfires, to commune with spirit guides, or to perform shadow work in safety. It is the ultimate refuge of the sovereign self. Magic, in the solitary context, is the art of moving energy. It is the practical application of the principle of vibration. The witch must become a master of their own bioenergetic system. Energy anatomy, centering and grounding. Before any working, the witch must be switched on. Centering, pulling scattered attention inward to a point of stillness, usually the solar plexus or heart. It is the act of gathering oneself. Grounding, connecting to the earth. Visualize roots extending from your spine or feet deep into the soil. This prevents energy overload, anxiety or dizziness, and provides a limitless reservoir of power to draw upon rather than depleting your own bio-battery. Raising the cone of power. In a coven, the group raises energy together. The solitary must generate this intensity alone. Dance and movement, rhythmic movement, circumambulation, walking the circle, or ecstatic dance raises the heart rate and shifts consciousness. Chanting. The use of rhyme and rhythm entrains the brain waves. The witch's rune is a classic example, but the solitary should feel free to compose their own simple, rhythmic chants that state their intent. Visualization. As the physical energy builds, visualize it as a light spiraling upward from the ground, swirling around the circle, building in speed and intensity to form a cone of power. The release. At the peak of intensity, the energy is released toward the goal. This requires a decisive act, a shout, a clap, pointing the wand, or collapsing to the floor. The visualization is sent shooting off to its target or into the universe. Modalities of solitary magic. 1. Candle magic. The most accessible form. It combines correspondence, color, and mentalism, focus. The candle acts as a battery. Technique. Dress the candle with oil, rubbing from middle to ends to send energy out. Carve your intent or sigils into the wax. As it burns, it releases the energy into the ether. 2. Cord magic. A tactile method of binding intention. Technique. Use a colored cord. Tie 9 knots while visualizing your desire, chanting, by knot of 1, the spell's begun, by knot of 9, the thing is mine. The energy is stored in the knots and released as they are untied, or preserved if the cord is kept. 3. Sigil magic. A chaotic, psychological approach. Technique. Write a statement of desire, for example, I have confidence. Remove vowels or repeating letters, giving you H, V, C, N, F, D. Combine these lines into a stylized symbol. Charge it with intense focus, gnosis, and then destroy it to implant it in the subconscious. 4. Sex magic. Utilizing the potent energy of sexual arousal, principle of gender, to fuel magic. Technique. For the solitary, this involves self-pleasure. The visualization of the goal is held firmly in the mind. At the moment of orgasm, the point of maximum energy release and ego death, the intent is fired out into the universe. 5. Servitors. Advanced solitaires may create servitors, thought forms programmed for specific tasks, for example, guarding a home, finding lost objects. This involves defining the entity's purpose, appearance, and lifespan, essentially creating a magical software program. Planetary hours for spell timing. Timing is crucial. Using the principle of correspondence, the solitary aligns their work with planetary energies. Day, Monday. Planet, Moon. Magical intention, dreams, intuition, psychic ability, home. Color, silver or white. Day, Tuesday. Planet, Mars. Magical intention, courage, conflict, protection, strength. Color, red. Day, Wednesday. Planet, Mercury. Magical intention, communication, travel, wisdom, study. Color, yellow or purple. Day, Thursday. Planet, Jupiter. Magical intention, abundance, wealth, prosperity, legal matters. Color, blue or green. Day, Friday, planet Venus, magical intention, love, friendship, art, beauty. Color, pink or green. Day, Saturday, planet Saturn, magical intention, banishing, binding, protection, endings. Color, black or gray. Day, Sunday, planet Sun, magical intention, success, health, vitality, leadership. Color, gold or orange. Divination is not merely fortune-telling. It is a hermetic tool for dialogue with the higher self. It operates on the principle that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. The fall of the cards reflects the pattern of the moment. Scrying, the ancient art of seeing. Scrying involves gazing into a reflective surface to induce a trance state where psychic information is received. History, from the sacred pools of ancient Egypt to the obsidian mirrors of the Aztecs and John Dee's shoe stone, scrying is a primal art. Psychology. Scientifically, this induces the Ganzfeld effect, where the brain, deprived of visual variability, begins to generate internal imagery, hallucinations or visions. The mind seeks patterns, pareidolia, which the intuition then decodes. Technique. Use a black mirror, glass painted black on the back, or a dark bowl of water. Sit in dim light. Gaze with a soft eye, looking through the surface rather than at it. Wait for the clouds to clear and images to form. Tarot and psychology. For the solitary, tarot is a mirror for the soul. It is best used for diagnosis rather than prediction. Application. When stuck, do a reading to check the weather of your internal landscape. The archetypal images, the tower, the empress, trigger subconscious knowing. The pendulum. A tool of radiesthesia using the body's audiomotor response, minute muscle movements driven by the subconscious. Technique. Use a weight on a string. Establish yes, for example clockwise circle, and no, for example back and forth movements. Use it to verify intuition, check the energy of chakras, or find lost objects. The solitary path is a path of self-correction. Without a high priestess to offer counseling, the witch must become their own therapist. Overcoming the intermediate plateau. After the excitement of Wicca 101 fades, many solitaires hit a wall of boredom or stagnation. The remedy. Shift from collecting spells to deepening presence. Instead of learning a new ritual, practice the same ritual until you can feel the energy shift physically. Study the roots, Hermeticism history. Challenge your beliefs. If you don't believe in literal gods, explore archetypes. If you do, deepen the devotion. The plateau is where the dabbler stops and the adept begins. Shadow work. Based on Jungian psychology, this is the practice of integrating the repressed, darker aspects of the self, the shadow. Relevance. The shadow contains disowned power. By facing fears, jealousies, and traumas, the witch reclaims this energy. A witch who ignores their shadow will protect it, creating drama and unbalanced magic. Techniques. Journaling about triggers. Dialogue with the inner demons in meditation, inner temple. Ritual burning of written negative traits to release the energy bound in them. The growth mindset in magic. Adopting a growth mindset, Carol Dweck, is critical. In magic, failure is data. Application. If a spell fails, the fixed mindset says, I have no power. The growth mindset says, my focus was scattered, or the timing was off. The solitary witch views magical proficiency as a skill developed through calibration and persistence, not an innate gift. Mental health benefits. Solitary witchcraft offers profound psychological anchoring. Ritual provides a sense of agency in a chaotic world. Grounding regulates the nervous system. The animistic worldview combats the alienation of modern life, reconnecting the practitioner to a web of living relationships. It transforms trauma into a narrative of empowerment. The Law of Three and Solitary Ethics. Without a coven's rules, the solitary relies on the Wiccan Rede, and it harm none, and the Law of Three. This is not a cosmic punishment system, but a physics of consciousness. You cannot generate hate without first holding hate in your own vibration, which damages the vessel, you. The solitary must weigh the long-term ripple effects of every magical act. Self-dedication ritual. This is the solitary's initiation. It is a vow taken to oneself and the universe. The rite. Perform a ritual bath. Cast a circle. Declare your intent to the gods or universe. Adopt a magical name, calculated via numerology or chosen for its aspirational quality. This name represents your magical persona, the version of you that is powerful and sovereign. Solitary rites of passage. The solitary officiates their own life. Wickening, a dedication ceremony for a child, welcoming them to the world without binding them to the faith. Hand fasting, a marriage rite. A solitary can perform a self-blessing of union or officiate for friends. Hand parting, a ritual for ending a relationship or habit. Cutting a cord magic, to signify the release of ties. Croning or saging, a ritual acknowledging the transition into the age of wisdom, honoring the aging body and the accumulated experience. Cultivating abundance. Witchcraft teaches that the universe is abundant. Poverty consciousness is a restriction of the principle of mentalism. Technique. Use green candle magic on a Thursday, Jupiter. Create a money bowl with coins, herbs, basil and cinnamon, and lodestones. But crucially, use the gratitude ritual, Mabon energy, to shift your internal vibration from lack to having, which magnetically attracts more abundance. Solitary witchcraft is a path of courageous individuation. It demands that you look into the mirror of the soul without flinching, accepting the totality of your nature, light and shadow, and take absolute responsibility for your reality. It is a journey from the illusion of separation to the realization of profound connection, understanding that the solitary witch, standing alone in their circle, is connected to the stars, the earth, and the ancestors by an unbreakable web of energy. By mastering the Hermetic principles, engaging in deep shadow work, and aligning with the cosmic rhythms, you transform yourself into a living vessel of the divine. You become a conduit for the divine echoes that reverberate through the universe. The path is open, the circle is cast. You are the temple. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and begin to breathe deeply, inhaling slowly through your nose and exhaling fully through your mouth. Welcome, seeker, to the stillness within. Let the noise of the world fade into a distant hum. You are safe here. You are sovereign. Visualize yourself standing at the edge of a dense, ancient forest. The air is cool and smells of pine and damp earth. It is twilight, the time between times. Before you, a path opens up, illuminated by the soft glow of fireflies. This is your path. It has been waiting for you. Begin to walk. With each step, feel yourself shedding the layers of your daily life. The worries, the roles, the expectations. They fall away like autumn leaves, leaving you lighter, clearer. The path leads you to a clearing. In the center of this clearing stands a magnificent structure, your inner temple. See it clearly. Is it a tower of white stone? A cottage of moss and wood? A cave of shimmering crystal? This place is built from your own spirit. It is yours alone. Walk to the door. You reach out and touch it. It opens to your touch, recognizing its master. You step inside. The air inside is charged with a silent humming power. In the center of the room is an altar. On it burns a single flame, the eternal spark of your own divinity. Walk to this flame. Feel its warmth. It is the fire of creation, the same fire that burns in the stars. As you gaze into this flame, call to mind a quality you wish to embody. Courage, wisdom, peace, abundance. Whisper this word to the flame. See the flame change color to match this quality. It grows brighter, expanding until the light fills the entire room. Breathe this light in. Let it fill your lungs, your heart, your mind. Feel it rewriting your vibration, tuning you to the frequency of your desire. You are the magician. You are the high priestess. You are the temple. in your mind. I am the weaver of my reality. I am attuned to the rhythms of the cosmos. I am whole. I am powerful. I am free. Hold this feeling of power. Know that this temple is always here, just a breath away. Slowly begin to withdraw from the vision. Step back out of the temple door. Walk back down the forest path. Feel your body resting in the physical world. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a deep breath in and release. When you are ready, open your eyes. You have returned, but you are not the same. You carry the echo of the divine within you. We have traversed a vast landscape today, from the immutable laws of hermetic physics to the intimate geography of the human soul. The path of the solitary witch is not for the faint of heart. It requires the discipline to be your own teacher, the courage to face your own shadow, and the wisdom to see the divine in the mirror. But as we have explored, the rewards are absolute sovereignty and a life lived in deep, rhythmic harmony with the cosmos. You now possess the keys, the principles of mentalism, the tools of the altar, and the map of the wheel. The rest is not a matter of learning, but of doing. If this analytical guide has illuminated a corner of your path, or if you found resonance in the silence of the inner temple, please consider sharing this episode with a fellow seeker. A review or rating helps us keep the doors of this library open to all who wander. Until we meet again to turn another page, trust your intuition, honor your rhythm, and listen closely. May the divine echoes guide you home. Blessed be.